Well, the ECCF has been run and done. Let me tell you all about the biggest crawling competition of Australia for 2023. So here we are. I'm back from Boat Harbour, New South Wales. Well, I'm here at Boat Harbour. This is just a quick day before the competition. I'm just checking out the area. Car park's up over there. And I've basically just come down here to look at the area and just get a feel for it. And I can't wait. And you can see from this panning view what an amazing place this was. And a couple of the guys at that comp actually live there. Boat Harbour's a little township and it is just an amazing, amazing place. So 3 days, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 7 classes ran. I competed in 6 out of 7 of those classes. Friday started with Mini. Now, you may recall from my UTB 18 video series that I compared this to my Mini, which you can see there. Now this didn't do as well as my Mini, but at the last comp before the ECCF, I blew the front axle of my competition Mini. And so I took the axles off this thing, off the front, and stuck it under my Mini, and I had to change the gearing, and it was a real muck around to get it going. It wasn't good, and unfortunately, well, I don't have it here, but I snapped the front axle on my Mini on the second course. So I did that Mini in 3-wheel drive. It was a bit of a fail. So I've come back, I've put the Capra back together, but now you can't really tell, but it's now running the Holmes Revolver 2800 little baby revolver in here. We'll get to this in a video soon. It's actually quite cool and I like what I've done with this. So we'll come back to the Mini. But I didn't do well because I competed in 3-wheel drive. Finished a couple of courses, but it wasn't pretty. Oh, and while we're talking about Mini, watch out for my new Mini Mega build. I've just done it because I could. I had spare parts after everything was done. This thing's ridiculously heavy. We're gonna have a play with my Mini Mega when we talk about the Capra next, so stay tuned for that. I think Friday afternoon, we also had Pro MOA, which is motor on axle. Now this is probably my weakest class. This is a very capable vehicle. It's built to an older spec now, the Bully 2. It's an interesting machine nonetheless. I didn't do well in that, but I had a great time and I learned a lot. So you always learn a lot driving with people who know what they're doing, which I definitely got to do. So that's my nice way of saying I didn't do well.
Try this one.
Skipping that bonus, thank you.
Yeah, it's pretty hard.
Yes.
Even this one.
This is not a bonus though. This is a gate. I've got to do this one. Come on, little note. Oh. I'm just going to reverse. Kind of have to. Oh, that's causing disaster actually. I need that back wheel up on that.
Or both of them flat, maybe.
So you're saying rear and reverse.
Rear lock, rear in.
Yeah.
And you in reverse, and it should swing down the hill. See that? It straightens up. Yep.
Ah.
Now you're straight.
Ah.
And then when you get to about here,
yeah,
you're going to start. You're going to pull on the front and then turn. Then it
into this.
See how it?
Huh. Thank you.
Yeah.
Nice
progress. You see, as soon as that straightened you up.
Yeah, I did. It's magic. I really need to spend a bit of time with this car.
Progress.
You can tell I've hardly driven it.
Yeah. Yeah, drive it up. You need push.
Yeah.
Yeah, nicely done.
Thank you. Did you do this one?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I went up higher, so you can get it here.
Yeah.
If you get it from there, which you will.
Yeah.
Oh. Nice.
Hey, Joel.
Bonus. Nicely done.
No, I was saying g'day.
Yeah.
No, not at all. I was just saying g'day.
That was a good drive, right?
Yeah, thanks. I can only claim fluke, but hey, I'll take it.
Oh no, I don't reckon.
That's uncomfortable, that is.
Yeah. Digging. Yep. Nice. 109 left, mate.
Thank you. Sorry.
You're right. Cool.
It's getting a bit like that.
Big day.
Yeah.
A good day though.
Yeah, it has been a good day.
Very enjoyable.
I've broken every car I've driven today, except this one. But we learned a lot. Come on, car. Come on, get it. I've got the penalties to do a rollover.
Yeah, you've only got 7 penalties for some reason. You haven't any gates or anything.
Yeah, I'm just going too slow.
So you got 9 seconds.
I got
so you only got to jump through there and get through
cool.
there. You ready?
Yep.
Go.
Dang it. I'm not going to make it. I'm done.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No worries. Oh, he's in the groove.
He is, we should move. The Bully 2 performed just great. I'm running Team Brood motors at each end. They're probably due for some new bushes right now. And it's a great little machine. So that's the Bully 2. And this thing was sponsored by RC 4-Wheel Drive. Thank you, RC 4-Wheel Drive. So that was Pro. Next day, we had the performance scale. Now, this is the SCX-10 Pro. My Endura chassis machine is not here because it's been fully disassembled. And in fact, my Mini Mega is holding quite a few of the bits from my Endura performance scale. Why is that? Well, the RGT Challenger axle had a link riser. This is a link riser. Now I'm doing something fairly unconventional here, but it tore out the link riser on the RGT axle. So I was disabled on the, I think the first or second course with performance scale. So that's 2 cars I've broken so far. I had no hope of podiuming at that point. So with the kind permission of the guys, I swapped cars. You can't usually do that in a comp, but I'd come all that way and I wanted to drive, and I definitely was out of reach of the guys because I'd busted my car. So I got to do my last 3 courses with the SCX-10 Pro. Now I've shimmed this thing. It's a lovely tight diff. There's no movement in it, but even so, there was so much traction at that place that I caused this diff to click, click, click a few times. You could have run slicks at Boat Harbour and you still could have broken stuff. The traction was unbelievable. So running an axe system with enough torque to shift this 3-ton 4-wheel drive behind me here probably wasn't my best choice ever, and particularly having no slipper, just having the whole thing tightened right up. The only thing that could give was the drive shafts and the diff housing, and I think the diff housing actually expanded under torque. But it's still good, it's still solid, so the gears are still fine, and it's all tight. Just a cautionary tale to let you know, hey, you can actually break these if you try hard enough, and you don't need all the torque in the world. Some torque's great, but the Hobbywing axe system, like the proper full, this is a 2700 R2, it's a lot. In fact, no, this is the 1400 kV geared for this car, so all the torque in the world. It was just too much. But again, had a blast, it was really fun. So, I've broken 3 cars at this point. We've busted the Mini, we've busted my first P scale. This guy hung in there, that was okay. Now, I'll talk to you about Sportsman next. Now, this is missing a rear axle, but that wasn't the problem. Rear axle is temporarily on my Mini Mega. What happened here? What happened here was Craig learned a lesson. Now, this is from Shapeways. It's an SLS 3D printed axle goodness. And I learned a lesson about endpoints. So here's your axle, right? And now it had some ridiculous steering angle, and it still worked at this crazy angle because these unis are just incredible. So this is an amazing axle design. The unis had to be filed right back. So to get this crazy angle, it's an engineering masterpiece. But what was missing here was an end, just a stopping screw. I just needed to put a screw in somewhere just to stop this wheel bouncing too far. Because this thing was performing like a champ. But what happened was when it got to there and it hit something under power, and it just pushed it further than my endpoint preset. And the only thing that could give in this extremely strong machine was the axle housing. And that's exactly what happened. The axle popped out of the housing. So I was driving, wasn't even like a tricky problem, and it just went shatter. Now I didn't film any of this because they were really long days, and I decided to just enjoy the time with the people because it's a special experience. I'm so sorry that I couldn't share much of it with you. I do have 2 runs filmed for you later in this video. But anyway, I busted this car, so I had fun, but didn't do well with this guy either, so that was that. Now, just as a side note, Jakey Schofield there runs Pink Bits Racing. This guy does his own carbon fiber. So what I have here, I've decided to get with the modern program. Now, Jakey podiums, I can't remember the actual places. I can link to them in the description. But this guy took out 1st or 2nd place in almost everything, so he won the comp. And they're his cars. And so I'm coming into the future, I'm getting rid of this older Margo 2. Now this is still a competitive car, and I'm going to replace this axle, and then I'll sell the machine to someone locally, and they'll just get a really good price to get them into the competition, because you can still really drive with this thing. Great car still. Ouch. But the pinnacle from Pink Bits Racing will be what I move to, where the skid gets moved forward and it's on more of an angle. And so this will be my new performance scale as well, since we're talking performance scale. And it's running on Capra axles. So there's a video coming all about that. Can't wait to share it with you. There's a little revolver there, and we got deluxe fab, so a little battery sits in the front. The whole thing is just super tidy. I'll show you that in a video soon. Now that leaves 2 classes. The first class, Tuff Truck. This is the first time Tuff Truck had been run. Now some of you guys will be nodding your heads when I tell you this thing was too long. Didn't do terribly well because I had some real trouble getting over ledges because of the crazy length I put in this, but the 4-wheel steering worked a treat. John Robert Holmes, if you're watching by any miracle, your servos are so good. The BLS 500, I've got the version 3 and the version 2 on this thing. I love your servos, and I've got the new HV 2000 in my SCX6. Video coming soon on that. Holmes Hobbies gear is just, it's so nice. Link in the description for that. I've got no affiliation with him, there's no money in it for me, but check out a link. Oh, maybe I can give you an Asia Tees link. Check it out, because they're really good. So, Tuff Truck drove really well. I decided to help out and I scored a bunch, so I couldn't even finish this until the 2nd day when they were just getting the stragglers, including me, because I'd been busy scoring. But this was an absolute blast. Steve Price ran a really tight comp, and I drove if I hadn't started with a half-flat battery because we were trying to cram it in at the end, I drove a perfect run, except when I had to stick a new battery in on the last course. So you'll see more in Tuff Truck. It's a brilliant, brilliant class. I'll explain it all in a future video because the way they run's a bit different, but it is really fun. Scale is life. That needs to be a bumper sticker. It probably is. I don't mind what the car is. Driving on a trail is it's just perfect. It's what, for me, RC crawling is mostly about. The social element of it is brilliant. Just getting out, it's just decompressing on the trails. I love it. I know a lot of you guys do too. Now, I took this as a loaner, and I loaned it to Adam from Melbourne. He'd traveled up as well. And in the theme of breaking things, this became an RC 3-wheel drive as well. So I've now broken almost everything I brought. Except for 2 cars, everything broke. But Adam managed to finish 3 of the 5 courses in 3-wheel drive. Good job, Adam. And he got a fairly, like a middle of the road result, which was impressive given, again, 3-wheel drive. So yeah, these axles are awful. I don't think I've ever had an RC 4-wheel drive that hasn't had a front, like a front cut brake. They're so bad. Boom Racing axles. Let's link that in the description. The BRX 70 axles fit under this perfectly, and they are strong. So check that out. Now, we started using a new scoring system recently. This was developed by Samu Saka and a friend of his whose name I can't remember, but this is a Finnish application. It just runs in a web browser, and they give all the clubs logins so that you can score as you go, which is really, really good. Last video, you saw how I took this from the stock JLU, and I got as many scale points on this thing as I possibly could. I didn't mention it in the last video, but there's even an exhaust pipe here. Like, I really tried to get this thing to get as many points as I could, and you know, I was pretty successful. Now, I had a good drive on the Sunday. This was the only thing I drove on Sunday, apart from the catch-up for the Tuff Truck. And these 249 gram brass wheels, which seem like a stupid idea generally speaking, were amazing. Now let me just put this in context for a sec. This thing only has brass on the inside, and I've got a 5-pole motor and a stronger servo. That's it. It's a stock JLU, oh, with the dig disabled. This thing's a performer.
Because what you're that's going to catch your RC forward right over. Pick him up a little bit.
The tricky thing about this comp is you need to drive really, really well. But you also need to set up a truck really well, because the more scale points you have, they can be taken off from each run you make. Now I've got a video all about that here where I introduce it to you with a different truck and I explain to you what's going on with that. But you get rewarded not just for driving in Scale 1, you get rewarded for building a rig that gets you as many scale handicap points as possible. Tristan Hadson took first place. I'll spoil that for you now. Great drive, Tristan, and it was a deserving place. I did the maths and Tristan's scale points, his setup on his car was so good. I had to drive 35 points better than him to beat him on the day. And your best possible score is 250, and he had me by 6 points. I knew I had to drive perfectly, and oh boy, I nearly did. I made 2 mistakes on 5 courses. Each course has 3 bonuses, 6 minutes, that's 30 minutes of driving, and what, 15 bonuses. I drove this thing and it performed, my goodness. It was so fun.
Time?
Welcome.
Thank you.
Wow! Wow!
This thing was amazing. And so I took a sneaky second place, 6 points behind him, and we were 30 points ahead of Tom, who got third, and then the rest of the pack was down below. Winning felt really good, like podiuming felt really good. It's an addictive feeling. But even if I hadn't, like all the other competitions previously, I always come back with a giant smile on my face because it was fun. It was so fun. So this year we're running Melbourne Comp Crawlers. We're getting a club underway. There's a group of us making it happen, and we're going to really try to be like the Queensland and the WA guys and get more and more and more comps going, because just going out and comping is just, it's so fun. It's good for this as well. Just you get to hang out, decompress, have fun, and that's what we did. Guys, thank you so much for joining me for my little summary, which became an RC parts graveyard of sorts. There's a lot more coming. I'm seriously excited to show you. There's just a lot to see. Stay tuned, subscribe if you haven't, throw me a like for this one. Thank you for joining me for this, and I will catch you again right here very soon on RC-TNT. Thanks for watching.